In the airport, the students from Hosho Academy High School, where Mutsumi, a girl who is passionate about insects with a wide knowledge in their biology and behavior, while her fellow students wait for airplane to take them on a school trip. However, the plane they were in went down on an island. The flight accident took numerous lives, but there are still a few survivors, and Mutsumi is one of them. After waking up on the beach, he spots the wreckage of the plane. Metal fragments and bags were scattered over everywhere. Mutsumi is afraid to imagine such situation, as if the horrible position she was in were not enough. The girl is staring at a human hand that is not attached to its body. Her last remaining option is to search the forest for other survivors. In the middle of the woods, the young woman meets Matsuoka, the captain of the school's softball team. Matsuoka found a knife, lighter, and a hairspray while she is walking along the shore after the accident. Together, they started looking for other colleagues who might have survived the accident. Elsewhere in the forest, a group of students is gathered. They found a freezer with several drinks, which could indicate that there are more people survived the accident. They try to ask for help using their mobile phones, but the devices are wet and not working. Only Chitosi's cell phone, which is waterproof, still working. Everyone is happy by the news, but they quickly learn that there are no signal on the island. Ino walks away from the group as she says that nature calls, and suddenly her classmates hear the girl screams. Mutsumi and Matsuoka were walking near the place and also heard Ino's horrifying scream. The group come closer to see what is happening, and everyone freezes in terror. When they realize that it was a giant butterfly, the bug injects its proboscis into Ino's skin. Then another giant butterfly creature appears and introduces its sucking mouth part into the girl's mouth. They suck all the water and nutrients from the students, leaving her completely dry. After feeding on Ino, the insects head towards Mommy. Two of her classmates try to rescue her, but they too are killed and sucked to death. The two girls who were separated from the group arrive at the location and are faced with this bizarre scene. Mutsumi, the insect lover, is surprised to see a butterfly the size of an elephant. Matsuoka attacks one of those creatures with a knife, but no damage is caused. Mutsumi's best friend is also being attacked. To try and save her, Mutsumi has a brilliant idea. She runs towards the butterfly. And with the help of hairspray and a lighter, Mutsumi burns the giant butterfly to death, but she felt sorry for the giant butterfly. However, her skills and knowledge will be essential to the group. Now that the students are free of those monsters, they start to make a plan to get out of that sinister island. And the only way to do that is to survive for 3 days, which is the minimum time expected for rescue to arrive. As they discuss the plan, Kazuhiko hears the sound of a helicopter. The group run towards the noise. Everyone is happy, believing that they will be saved, but Chitosi is the first to realize something was wrong. She pushes Mutsumi, and by the time the girl looks towards her friend, it is too late. It was a giant wasp that made that sound similar to a helicopter, but it had already captured Chitosi and injected venom to paralyze her. Matsuoka and Mutsumi wanted to save the girl, but they are stopped by Atsushi, who had elected himself as a leader of that group, telling them when they split up, their chances of survival go down. However, Mutsumi manages to convince them to rescue Chitosi by remembering that the girl's mobile phone was waterproof. So even without a signal, it was possible to use the GPS to check the location where they were. That way Mutsumi would be able to predict which insects would be inhabiting that island, which increases the group's chances of survival. Atsushi, having no other choice, agrees to them. So they head towards the wasp's nest, where Mutsumi believes her friend has been taken and will likely serve as a receptacle for the insect's eggs. They find a house in the middle of the forest, which was being used as a nest by the giant wasps. The group enters the house. After searching the room, Mutsumi is shocked by a situation that could make you uncomfortable. Their classmates are being eaten alive by wasp larvae. They're being kept alive until the larva finishes eating. And since those monsters release substances that give pleasure to their victims, the students have not tried to escape. Jino and Atsushi, seeing the monstrous scene, began to exterminate the wasp larva. Seconds later, the young people being eaten and started screaming in pain and despair as the larvae were killed, so they're no longer receiving pleasure chemicals. Hearing their colleagues' death screams, the group fled the area, and no one was able to stay. But Mutsumi doesn't give up. She still wants to look at the other nest and continue on the mission to find her friend Chitosi. Outside the house, the students notice a fresh wasp carrying his meal. While hiding the group, Atsushi recognizes the man, that he is Akira, his friend. The boy runs to rescue his friend, and the wasp turns around and tries to attack Atsushi, who is saved by Mutsumi. The insect heads towards the nest, carrying Akira. But Atsushi takes a pipe and goes after it. There, he even finds his friend. But Atsushi had no idea that a huge wasp would be waiting for him. He manages to fend off the attack and falls to the first floor, where he encounters Mutsumi. The girl sprays the insect with hairspray, but it appears that the effect is just temporary. They manage to escape the wasp and head toward upstairs, where Atsushi finds Akira. In the same nest, Mutsumi finds Chitoshi. The girl is unconscious and Mutsumi not strong enough to carry her alone. She then asks Atsushi for help, but the boy just cowardly look at them and takes his friend and leaves. On the way out, he encounters another insect and still manages to escape through the hole in the wooden floor. After escaping, the coward leader ordered the other to leave. Suddenly, more wasps arrived. The wasp heads towards the girls. Mutsumi struggles to carry her friend to a passage where they could escape. As they're about to escape, another wasp appears and attacks the insect that Mutsumi had sprayed hair on. Just then Matsuoka appears and rescues the girls. The house is taken over by wasps that were attracted by the smell of the spray. Now they need to find saline solution or sports drinks to give to their friends who have been infected with that was venom. Kai finds a map on the island, which shows that there was a hospital nearby. Everything looked perfect. They walk towards the place, but on the way, a new obstacle stands in their path. Mommy spots a huge tick on Jino's back, but Mutsumi managed to remove it. She looked at it to see if it had a bite. According to Mutsumi, a bite from hard tick can cause a viral infection which could kill her. As if the situation wasn't terrible enough, they ended up in a tick nest. The entire area was invaded by the monsters. You can find dozens of them, each with a pair of terrifying red eyes, in a single tree. Mutsumi instructs his colleagues to bend over, fold their arms, and hide their hands to avoid rising body temperature and releasing carbon dioxide. That way they could get out of there undetected by those monsters. Mutsumi throws a stone heated by his body heat to attract them, and the group is able to follow the same path. From time to time, the girl throws a new heated stone to get away from tick. As they were about to leave that deadly nest, the students meet their teacher. The woman looks like a zombie, and her face is taken over by those creatures. Mommy is heartbroken to see her teacher in such a situation, and runs through the forest. Mutsumi has the idea of using the teacher as bait. After all, the woman was no longer capable of surviving. She uses a piece of wood to knock her to the ground, and hundreds of ticks take over her body. Now that the insects have been attracted, they will only have one chance to escape. Fortunately, they were able to make it out alive, but the teacher was not as fortunate. Later that night, the group arrives at the hospital, where they find saline solution to give to their infected friends. A strange creature appears that crawls under the skin. While exploring the building, Kai discovers the power room and manages to turn on the hospital's lights. He also finds emergency supplies and brings them to his colleagues. The group intends to remain there for another 2 days until rescue arrives. When the situation seemed to be under control, Akira wakes up. The boy starts to struggle, and an odd look appears in his eyes. His eyeballs pop out and Akira completely loses control of his body. He sprints out of the hospital and toward the helicopter landing zone and he climbed the tower. Atsushi goes after his friend, but Mutsumi warns him that he's infected with a deadly parasite. When he reaches the top of the tower, the boy starts making loud noises that ended up attracting Predator. Mutsumi immediately ordered his colleague enter the hospital, but before they can go anywhere, an insect with giant wings and claws appears. He goes towards Akira and brutally kills the boy, cutting off his body. The boy's body falls in front of coward leader, who was devastated by what just happened. Jino slaps his coward face to wake up his small mind, and they both run towards the hospital. Behind them are the rest of the group. The couple arrives at the building first, and then after entering, Jino locks the door. Mutsumi asks the small-minded girl to let them in, but she refuses. Jino's reason was that the classmates could also be infected with the parasite, but we all know that the traitor locked the door simply to let the girls die. Suddenly, the monster throws something at Mommy's face, and when the girl turns to look at what it is, she comes across Akira's head. Inside the hospital, Chitoshi is waking up, but still not able to move her body. The coward leader is still upset at his friend's death. Chitoshi asked where Mutsumi is, and Jino say that his classmates were outside and were eaten by insects. But Chitoshi doesn't believe her story and starts calling for her friend. Just then she hears Mutsumi screams outside. Jino and Atsushi intended to take advantage of Chitoshi's immobility to do terrible things to her, but luckily for Chitoshi, Kai appears and knocks the two small-minded on the ground, hitting their heads with a fire extinguisher. Mutsumi, Matsuoka, and Mommies were still outside the hospital and trying to open the door. However, when they were about to be captured, the boy opens the door and the girls are saved. They try to come up with a new plan to get rid of that giant creature that was still looking for them outside the building. But Mutsumi sets a risky strategy to save her friends and ask for Kai's help. Mutsumi wants to attract the attention of the giant insect using the lights on the helipad. She manages to get out the building and climbs up the tower without attracting the monster's attention, At the top of the tower, she wraps a tarp around the lights, gets down the tower. Using a loud alarm inside her bag, she attracts the insect's attention. Her objective is to attract directly to the top of the tower. When Sumi tries to avoid the vicious strikes of that enormous wasp, which destroys parts of the building. Finally, she manages to reach the tower. She immediately pulls the rope to remove the tarp, and the giant insect drawn to the lights. When the insect lands on the tower, Kai increases the power of the lights, causing a short circuit. The creature is electrocuted and burned to death. Due to Mutsumi's plan, the students manage to survive their first day on the island. After killing the giant insect, the group decides that Chitoshi will be the leader, and they gather the things they'll need for their journey to a safer place. As for small-minded couple, Jino and Atsushi are abandoned by their colleagues and left behind. The students set off on another horror adventure. Will they be able to stay alive for 2 more days until rescue arrives? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.